Hey guys, Adam here. Welcome to the second episode of the Django Rest Framework tutorial. The first episode we looked at how to get a basic API running, which is what we have here, which consists of routers, views, and serializers. Today we're going to be looking at my favorite part of Django Rest Framework, the view layer. We're going to be looking at what each, there's three different layers of views. You got ViewSets, which inherit from generic API views, which inherit from the base API view. So we're going to take a look at each layer and see when to use them. And each layer kind of gives us a certain kind of rubric of how to use them. So let's jump right in there. So first of all, let's take a look at where we're at. Let me unhide this. Okay. So where we're at here is we have a kitten list. We set this up with a model view set, which is awesome. Model view sets, mainly you're going to be using those. That gives you the most functionality. But sometimes you want to have a little more control over what's happening. View sets dictate your URLs for you. They dictate, you can kind of customize them. Let's actually go and customize this model view set. So right now on this kitten list, we have the ability to do everything. We can delete, we can create, we can do anything. So, what if we don't want to be able to delete? So that, if we take a look at the view sets, we're using model view set, which all it is it's a generic view set and all the mixins. So the generic view set inherits from this generic API view, which we're going to be taking a look at very soon. And this is kind of this generic API view really has a lot of power to it. But I just want to show you guys that if we want to get rid of this, if we want to stay with a view set and we want to just not allow destroy or delete, all we have to do is we take these mixins. Instead of using model view set, we can take all these mixins from REST framework import mixins, and from REST framework.generics import generic view set. Okay, so now we have these. So now we shouldn't be able to delete. View set. Okay, that's actually coming from here. Okay, so now we're looking at this kitten, but there is no delete method. If we try and delete, it'll give us a 405. So that's kind of what view sets are. They're a mix of all of these mixins and the generic view set, which give us all the power that we love with Django Rest Framework. Let's go ahead and get back on that, and let's go ahead and let's explore one layer below in the generic view set. So from here, we're going to, from REST framework.generics, import generic API view. Okay. So let's make it a puppy view, right? And we'll make this off of generic API view. Here we're going to do, we have to include this query set and serializer. So this view set inherits from generic API view. And these query set and serializer class, these actually come from generic API view, which allow us to show what data we want to show and to, many different properties that we'll take a look at here during this lesson. So if we want to look at puppies. We want this to be puppies. We don't want it to be kittens. And we want to have a puppy serializer. And we're going to puppy and puppy serializer. Okay. Let's go into our serializers. And we're going to want to create this as a puppy serializer. we want to look at puppy data. Serializers are pretty cool too. We'll be looking into this probably in the next lesson. And we're going to puppy. And of course, we need to create a puppy model. So here we have a puppy model. I think we just want these same 3 fields. So we're just going to create something called an abstract class, which we don't really worry too much about right now, but it's just a way to not have to copy fields. You have an animal, both a kitten and a puppy are an animal, but they're going to have different traits as we go along. But here we got animal name, color, age, and let's go ahead and inherit from there. And we'll go ahead and migrate that over. What is this looking for? Kitten without default. What field is it looking at? I think it's going to be name. Okay. I hope I didn't mess something up there. Okay, let's go ahead and migrate that. I messed something up. Okay, let's delete that. Yeah, something did not feel right about that. So let's go ahead and delete this migrate, and let's try that again. Make migrations animal. Non-nullable field animal PTR. Okay. Oh, okay. I forgot to let Django know this is an abstract model. Okay. This should go cleaner. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. Okay. So now we have our kitten and our puppy models. Something I have here, just pretend that we didn't have this URLs before. And so when we get rid of ViewSets, we do lose some functionality. We lose the automatic URLs. With the kittens, it was really nice. In our router, we just let the router know that it has a ViewSet, and then it builds all of those URLs. Like if we, I don't think this will work because it's not going to work. But in this, it builds up all of our URLs for us. And now we aren't using ViewSet. We're going one layer below, so we do lose that functionality. So what we'll do is, what we needed to do is we have to create this puppies URLs. So here we have puppies, and we're looking at puppy view. Puppy view. So now we're going to tie this puppies endpoint to puppy view. Let's see what happens. Okay, so there's nothing there. I need to add these. I need to add these into my projects. Include animals.urls. Okay, see if this does something better. Okay, puppies, 405 method not allowed. So what we've done here is, let's get rid of all the stuff we don't need anymore. What we've done here is we're using this generic API view, but generic API view actually doesn't have anything on it. It has stuff, but it doesn't work alone. To get this to work, we actually have to use, so we have generic API view, which is what allows us to use query set, serializer class, filters, paging. It has a whole bunch of really cool stuff. But what it doesn't have is it doesn't have this routing. So like for instance, let's take list. Let's just take list for now. Mission list model mixin. So let's see what this is doing. So this list model mixin right here. This list model mixin right here. We're gonna say, well, when we receive a GET request, because like right now it's 405ing, we're not allowed, like it doesn't take a GET request. But by adding this def get, for instance, if we just go like return response hello, right? From rest framework dot response import response. If we just do that, it'll take this GET request and it'll tell us back hello. That's what the response was. And so what generic APIs do is they tie like a GET request to like a certain action. They're called actions. And so this we're going to do a list, right? So here puppies, it's going to show us all the puppies. Right now we don't have any, right? But we don't want to always write that. If that's kind of a default behavior, right? So what we can actually do is we have this here, and list API view does that for us. So if we actually just use list API view, that is exactly what we just did. So if we go here, oops, wrong one. And we can get rid of this mixin now, and we just do generics.list API view. Okay, and this is going to be exactly what we just did, or at least it should be. And now what's really cool is like this is the right endpoint to create, you know, without it's not detail. So generics, we can do list create, and what you can see here, list create API view. This has a get, but it also has posts. So now we have this here. So if we want to create a puppy, we'll name him Ollie, we'll make him yellow, and we'll make him 1 year old. Now we have a puppy, right? But we just have list create. We don't have this URL yet because it's not a view set. To do that, we need to add in what a view set adds in automatically, which is in my, oh, that's not the right place. Animals URLs, right? I already have it here, but we're doing puppies and then an ID, primary key, and we're going to do puppy detail view. Let's change this to list. No, let's do puppy view. Okay, puppy detail view. So we need to create that, which is very simple. So we got our puppy detail view, right? And we want to make this a detail API view. Let's see if this works. Oops, no, not detail. Retrieve, what's it called? I think it's called retrieve. Let's go with that. Nope. Might be called puppy detail view. Alright, so puppy detail view is not defined. Okay, so now we got this working. So, you know, this is kind of like a view set with a create and a list and a retrieve. If we want to add in the rest, you know, we can do that. Retrieve update. Let's do retrieve update. We won't add in delete. If we want to delete, we could. Retrieve destroy. So let's add in all. Let's add them all in. Oops. Why am I? My brain's going out. Okay, so we got retrieve update destroy. So now we have the ability to update and make him 2. We can delete him, but we aren't going to. So that's kind of, now we kind of have a really similar functionality to a view set. So you might ask, like, why, why would we be using a generic API view? First of all, we can change the URLs. We have some flexibility on how our URLs are. We can name them differently. If we want to change the standard, there are some options on ViewSets to change how it's named, but we can do that. But more importantly, we can tie into these hooks more easily. Like if we want to tie into this get, we can kind of like add, like if we want to like log, like view or something, we would be able to do that by overriding in here. And so yeah, it just kind of gives us a little bit more flexibility using generics, and really it's just important to kind of understand how these are working. You can actually override in ViewSets as well. So really, if you want to change the URL structure, that's why you would go down a layer. But it is important. You are going to have to override in ViewSets as well. Like for example, if we do this, I think this will work. Retrieve and a kitten. If we just do like return response, you selected kitten. Quargs. We can do that right here, but let's just say a kitten. So this is the detail. This is on a get. So kittens 2. Oops. Okay, maybe you can't override. You might have to override on, for ViewSets, you have to override a layer up on the list. Possibly. I feel like that should have worked actually. Did I override in the right place? I did. Oh, okay. Yeah, on ViewSet you actually can't override at this level. You have to override an action maybe? Yeah, okay. So that is, with ViewSets you can't override the get. You can only override the action. So like on this get, it's calling retrieve. So if you don't want to like override an action, and you actually do want to just override the get, you have to use the generic API view. Cool. So hopefully, we understand a little bit more about how ViewSets are working, and we can override things to make them do what we want them to do. There's still one more layer left, which is underneath generics, which is called API view. So if we look at generics API view, this is actually inheriting from Views API view. So let's take a look at that and see what that's all about. Views API view. Okay, so with the puppy view list, no, let's do it here. The detail view. Let's get rid of our generics and let's do API view. So here in the API view, we don't have query set. We don't have serializer class. We're just gonna write like we just have our straight up. We don't have get object. We don't have any of the stuff that makes everything go behind the scenes. We just have like get. So if we receive a get request, we can handle this however we want. And we don't have we don't have like objects and query sets and all that. So, we can do something similar. Do we have a response? I do. Like, we can do something similar. So on puppies, where we're doing hello, right? or what it's actually used for. We can do things without even a model. We can log things. We aren't working with data specifically. We still can, and most of the time, in a REST API, you are going to be working with data. But say you have to connect to an external API. That's kind of how I've mostly used it at this layer, where I need to, I have to go connect to an external API, and I have to go fetch new messages that have been sent, or return a video chat server data, things like that aren't working with Django models. That's where this layer comes into play in the API view. But in this, we can still use puppy is equal to quarks. Let's do puppy.objects.get. ID is equal to quarks pk. And then let's return uSelected puppy number, and I guess I didn't need to do that. I guess I could have just done this. If I want to show more stuff about the puppy, like the name, yeah, let's do that. Puppy.name. Okay, so here we go. And this is going to okay, so I'm going to wrap that in a response. Okay, so you select a puppy named Ollie. As you can see, it's not serialized. The data is not serialized. All that comes into play in the generic API view. We can obviously add it in here, but if you are actually working with data, you don't want to do it here. And we can do response puppy dot. We can call a method like bark. So we have this puppy we call bark models. Let's look here. Let's do def bark self, and they'll say return woof woof. My name is self.name, right? And we'll see if that works. Cool. And so we call methods here, but in actuality, if you're working with Django models, you're pretty much only going to go down to the generic API view. If you're working with external stuff that aren't Django models, that's where you come down to this API view. And I think that this is a pretty good overview of what views are. I always suggest go read the Django Rest Framework documents. This is a good overview, but the documentation is really good too. So go look at that as well, and hopefully you enjoyed this screencast. See you next time.